Remember one thing, this economic fallout, which is of course massive, is not because of coronavirus. It's because of the government response by people in government and bureaucracy who've never surrendered a cent. I mean, this is school holiday time. These kids have been locked out of school, now denied the excitement and experience of a holiday. Any adult who can visit this stuff upon children deserves contempt when there are alternatives. But in the wider scheme of things, consider this. Tourism and hospitality provide more than 1 million jobs and contribute billions of dollars to the economy. Smashed again. A lockdown at school holiday time last year, tourism alone copped an $80 billion hit. You drive into the city of Sydney, it's a morgue. The historic rocks, well, I don't think it can survive. Cruise ships cancelled. International borders closed. Dogmatic bureaucracy, like the mob at Placemaking New South Wales. Have you ever heard of such a ridiculous bloody name, Placemaking New South Wales? But they're in charge of tenders. Get rid of the bureaucrats, not the businesses. The French rugby test goes to Brisbane. Another backhander to hotels, restaurants and hospitality. People are frightened for their futures in the face of socialist governments who want to control every aspect of our lives. Just think of the produce that's being wasted. Lockdowns in Queensland, New South Wales, WA and the Northern Territory for a virus where 99.7% of the cases are mild. In Australia, only one is critical. But there's no guarantee this rubbish will end. In 2020 in Victoria, 96% of events were cancelled. 96%. You don't get one word of apology from these government people who don't surrender a cent, nor do these health official know-alls. Yet here are people, hospitality and events, restaurants, cafes, weddings, functions, fundraisers, call it what you like, conferences, retail, smashed. Have a look at the sick graveyard humour posted yesterday by Clover Moore, the Lord Mayor of Sydney. This was George Street at lunchtime, and she says, Sydney, thank you for staying home. And there it is, a morgue. Yes, Clover. Why don't you thank the events industry, Clover, which has already lost more employees than are employed in the entire Defence Force? The equivalent of nearly half of all Commonwealth employees, a sector worth about $35 billion to the economy. Australians must never forget who has done this damage to the economy. It's not the coronavirus. It is the government response. So what do we now get today from the New South Wales government, which I suppose is better than nothing, but they're panicking. They know they've made a mess of all of this, and they're going to make payments to small businesses. That's after small business has to stand on its head with form filling. So payroll's up to 1.2 million, and you've got to have a turnover of up to 75,000, and you must be able to prove a turnover reduction of 75%, you'll get 10 grand. By the time you can prove all of that, you'll most probably be out on the street. A turnover reduction of 50%, you'll get 7 grand. You see, these things are thought up by people who have never been in business. A turnover reduction of 30%, you'll get $5,000 if you can prove the reduction. To be fair, I have to be fair, we're always fair here, payroll tax liabilities and gaming tax liabilities for hotels will be, keyword, deferred for the July period. Deferred. I mean, they shut you down, you try to hang on to your employees, but they still want the payroll tax. I don't think we've ever been more over-governed, and we have never been more poorly governed by people who simply don't understand what's happening in Struggle Street. In fact, the only one of this lot worth listening to is David Elliott. He's in quarantine following last week's National Party romp, and he is writing a diary each day. Look, it's compulsory reading. It's in Sydney's Daily Telegraph. You see him regularly on this program, though he won't be on tomorrow night. He's in quarantine. But he's clever, he's funny, and he doesn't take himself seriously, and he's writing a diary. Thank God for David Elliott. Some of the others, I wouldn't feed. What do you think? Email me, alan@skynews.com.au, or the text line 0414 000 848.